This first story comes from Fox 11, Los Angeles. Amanda Bynes' conservatorship expected to end, judge's tentative ruling says. And we've got an update kind of on the fly with this one. But it says, Amanda Bynes' conservatorship is likely to come to an end Tuesday, according to new documents filed in California. Court documents obtained by Fox News Digital show that Bynes' case is set to be discussed Tuesday morning in Ventura County. The court intends to grant the petition for termination and order the conservatorship of the person Amanda Bynes to be terminated, the papers state. Now, I was going to go farther on here, but if you go over just to the next topic right away, I just added it right. It says, Amanda Bynes' judge ends conservatorship. She is officially free. So she is no longer a ward of her family. She is free to pursue her interests and her the world she wants to live in. So that is quite
her conservatorship has been really interesting for me to follow. I know we're about to contrast it to Britney Spears, but I've read a couple articles about this today. I was thinking about covering it for the site. Her conservatorship was started in 2013 and modified. So, most conservatorships last about a year, maybe 2 years.
Is there a reason for that?
There's considered temporary. The object would be to get the person.
It's not supposed to be long term.
Right. The object, and that was why Britney Spears' conservatorship, which lasted over a decade, was so shocking when people realized how long it went on, because it's not really the object of the law, or that wasn't the intention of it.
Yeah.
Amanda Bynes was in a conservatorship for 9 years, although at one point it was modified slightly to just kind of it went from being the kind of conservatorship that Britney Spears had to being like a trust, and then her mom managed her like medical and personal decisions.
Okay.
And one of the cool things about reading this story, I'm not sure if either article, I should have sent one to you, here has it, but like lawyers for her parents who were, very much involved in her treatment and care, they were like, we are so excited about this. We're really happy for her to take the next step. She's made a ton of progress. She's been sober for a long time.
It's a complete 180 from the Spears conservatorship.
And exactly. They didn't fight her on it. There's as far as I know, not that she doesn't have the right to, but she's not doing a tell-all, you need to hear my side of the story now that I have a voice. It's really, it's kind of what you want these situations to end up as. Amanda Bynes, from what I know, she lives in a women's home, and so she's still being managed by a caseworker, but she's engaged. She's like pursuing a degree in fashion merchandising. I mean, she's really like actively pursuing a life.
Yeah.
In a way that I don't, maybe Britney Spears is, but it seems like this is really a victory. One of the judges said, congratulations to everyone involved at the end. Whereas, Britney Spears, it was like wildfire being finally put out.
Saying congratulations to all people involved seems like one of those rare experiences in the legal system where something actually works out in a way that it's theoretically intended to work out.
Right.
When something like this is put into place, nothing like this should be permanent.
Right.
Unless the person is obviously under a condition that, would be something that can't be worked on to the point where they're able to live on their own again, or to be
I
think
it's notable that her assets went from being controlled by a conservator to being put into a trust. Again, they adjusted this over time.
And a trust means that nobody can attack. There's just stipulations for what she can, when she can access it,
and
but
I
other
think her
people can't.
father was at one point there was a public trustee on it.
Okay.
But it's unlike Jamie Spears, Britney Spears' dad, he controlled everything, including her personal decisions, and there was no outside check.
Yeah.
And that's kind of crazy considering she was still performing in Vegas and really
almost the whole
working.
time.
Right. And he was profiting. He was getting paid to do this. Amanda Bynes, a statement through her lawyer at one point, I read this in a BBC article. She thanked her parents and her lawyers for the support they've given her over the last 9 years. This really does seem so different.
In unbelievable contrast to what we've seen in this before. Almost to the point where I could see somebody making a documentary between the two and contrasting them.
I think it's impossible not to, especially since they were of the same era. Britney Spears is slightly older.
A little bit older.
I think she's in her 40s. Amanda Bynes is 32.
I think she's 35, but it could be.
She's in her 30s, and Britney Spears, they were Amanda Bynes was a teen when Britney Spears was in her 20s, I think. But I think this is worth noting, and especially because there's a couple of different laws in Congress right now that are being considered to revise conservatorships, which I think it's worth
in what
reviewing.
way?
So they want to, I think it's literally called Britney's Law or Free Britney.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I haven't checked on the progress in a while, but they were literally, one of the things is they wanted to have a point court appointed social worker or like special advocate for the person involved in the case. So like one of the things that came up with Britney Spears was like she doesn't have control. She didn't have access to any of her money except for like a small amount provided to her by her dad.
Yeah.
Which he then like authorized, right?
Yeah.
So she couldn't hire her own lawyer.
Nope.
So she
was essentially trapped.
She used the money she earned to hire a legal team to keep her in the conservatorship, and like maybe at some points during that time she wasn't in a like maybe that I don't know enough about it, and I obviously like I think we've all become aware of it, but like maybe at one point that was necessary because she needed the extra support.
Yeah.
But like it is not clear that that has been necessary for quite a long time.
Yep.
With Amanda Bynes, it seems like her parents didn't use it as a chance to profit off their child. She didn't. I mean, she almost completely disappeared from the public eye.
A lot of people would ask, who the hell is Amanda Bynes?
Right. Well, do you remember? It struck a chord for me. I read an article that was like, you know, I read this BBC article on it, and it linked back to when they had written in 2013 when she was like when she was hospitalized one of the times, because she was hospitalized multiple times. She had a bunch of erratic behavior, like she was caught driving with a suspended license in California. Like there was just stuff.
It says she was placed under conservatorship in 2013 when it became clear that she was struggling with her mental health. She had a bizarre string of episodes, including one where she set her neighbor's driveway on fire. I remember reading about that.
And she got picked up like standing.
Amanda Bynes attributed the episodes to bipolar disorder, and she also opened up about her addiction to Adderall, but has since gotten help. Likely in those situations, if she's struggling with that, she's used much harder stuff,
right?
Because it's very hard.
But she's been sober for I think since 2014.
Says Amanda says she's been sober for several years now, and she surely seems to be doing a whole lot better. She's gotten a degree from the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising, and has also gotten engaged to her fiance Paul Michael. On top of her progress, Amanda's petition for personal freedom was supported by her mom and dad, so the result comes as no huge surprise, but it's still a big win for her. So she's free now to live her life as we know it, but she has some big plans in the near future. I could see somebody like her with her, first of all, with the, not that it's meant to be that way, with the social capital that comes from going through something like this, especially on the heels of the complete opposite version of this going on with Britney Spears and Jamie Lynn Spears, her turning this into multiple opportunities to re-enter these businesses, whether it's through fashion, whether it's through social media, whether she wants to act again. I almost think like she's going to do more outside of the realm of acting.
Yeah.
She could go into to work for these causes, to go into reform laws. That wouldn't be hard. You know, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility to see somebody like this go into to work, like they talk about actors who become activists later on because they find causes that they actually believe in. This is something that you know for a fact that she actually believes in, because it's something that's worked well for her. So she can go in there and say, this is what worked when I was under conservatorship. These were things I felt did not work, and could go and use her name recognition, her story, to lobby government or whatever to make changes in that regard,
right?
Which seems like a worthwhile use of her time, especially because it doesn't feel disingenuous. It feels like it's something that actually affected her.
She did an interview in 2018 with Paper Magazine, I believe, where she said one of the things that triggered some of her mental health issues, like specifically depression, was watching footage of herself, like stuff that had aired on TV. You remember she was like the Amanda Show, and she was in a bunch of stuff. So I could see where maybe she doesn't return to acting. But I also, you know, even if she just goes on to live a quiet life, I think this is an important, you know, I think this is a timely reminder that like conservatorship doesn't have to be enslavement, and like we really can do things to help support people who are adults who need extra care while they're going through something in a way that has a healthy relationship for everyone involved.
That makes sense to me as somebody who, like, when I went through rehabilitation, you don't just go through it and then done and go home. Usually, depending on how severe what you're going through is, you will not just go through your program, whether that's 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, if you're, if you can afford, if you're a person that can afford 90 days in a treatment facility, you usually end up going to a halfway house afterward. And that's obviously not the same level as something like this, but you have to, they have to watch you outpatient. You have to get your life back on track. And that's with a lot lot less personalized care. But there's absolutely something to be said that there could be reformations made to these policies in the regards to this, not in regards to addiction, but I mean, addiction played a huge part of this for her. So that resonates with me heavily, especially because when you're going through something like that, it is very hard to manage your own life. Like bipolar disorder, notwithstanding all these other things that are making life very difficult for her, very hard to live, having substance abuse issues makes it almost impossible when it's that bad, when it gets that bad, to have to hold down a job, to have to, well, basically what happened to me was I had to eventually hit a point where you just can't do it anymore. Like very few people make that conscious decision when they're still early on in it. Like, look, I need help. I need to go take care of it. Most people, it's not always as black and white as somebody who's like, I don't need help. I'm fine. Like that's always the trope. It's like the person who's like, I'm fine. I can quit whenever I want. A lot of people just know they need help. But when you've got a life, you've got a job, you've got, whether you're in a relationship, you've got all this stuff going on. When do you make the decision, especially with how difficult these processes are,
upturn everything,
to upend everything you're doing and go get help? So for somebody like her, I'm sure it kind of, a lot of times what happens is something bad has to happen to force you into it. Like a lot of times the most meaningful changes you will make in your life come after a hospital visit. That's that's not a lie. Like sometimes you need to be pushed into that situation.
And I think for her, there was like that she was hospitalized a couple times, and there was a legal intervention that sort of triggered this change. Yep. But I will say, like, I think this is one of the things, again, we can make the comparison to Britney Spears. She had to sort of, like, she's been performing since she was young, technically younger than Britney Spears was, from what I know. And therefore, she was financially independent much earlier. And, you know, when you age out of this, like, if you were a child star and then you had a teenager, like what happens to you, period, that all of them,
and we all know what happened, it's not a rumor, it's not some type of trope, it's the truth that what happens to child stars, because the industry has a tendency to chew them up and spit them out.
Right. And I think the combination of fame, money, but then also a predisposition to some mental health issues that it seems like it's pretty well documented both Bynes and Spears have, you know, it can only make these situations more complicated, right? Yeah. Because, you know, imagine, I don't know, but, you know, she had issues going on in California, suspended driver's license, and stuff was happening in New York. She like threw a bong out of her 36-story apartment.
I remember that.
And right. And do you remember there was a period in 2013 where like people were obsessed with her Twitter because she would just go on crazy rants?
She was like female Charlie Sheen.
Right. And like, I think the thing was like, if she was like, I don't know, early 20s at that point.
She would have been early 20s.
Early 20s, like, she probably wasn't living with her parents. A lot of people in their early 20s don't. And on top of that, she has a lot of money to make things maybe seem like they're going okay, right? And maybe until things got really bad, no one realized they needed to intervene.
Yeah.
And you know, again, like, she appears to live in like she doesn't live with her parents. She lives in a women's facility. Britney Spears lived in her own home that was like managed by her dad. Like there apparently seems to be other interventions in Amanda Bynes' case, which maybe mitigated some of the interpersonal issues that seem to dominate the Spears family.
And when it comes down to it, having a loving family makes all the difference in the world. When people ask me a lot about going through stuff like I've been through, I said the number one thing that you can do is to not hide it from your family and loved ones, which is what I had a problem with. Like, mine wasn't that I was in denial that there was something wrong. Mine was that I just didn't want to humble myself enough to be open about it.
Right.
Which is a huge
It's hard.
problem. So,
and I think, you know, in these cases, I maybe said this on one of the other episodes, but not being personally involved, but watching both of these things happen from afar, like, if neither one of these women had been famous or made money, I feel like it seems clear that Amanda Bynes' family would have treated her the same way, which was with a lot of love and compassion. And there's a chance that the Spears family would not have treated Britney the same way. Yeah, because she's like the family cash cow, which I hate to say, but like, it's just it's such an interesting contrast to me. So
is Amanda Bynes part of your generation technically?
Yeah,
like
technically.
she was a big part of, like, I'm sure the stuff that was like on TV when you were a child.
I never got into the stuff that she was watching,
but it was at that same time though, right?
Yeah.
Like, so like you didn't watch it, but it was like something that people in your age demographic would have been watching.
Yeah, but her name wasn't as big as like
Hillary Duff.
Hillary Duff, or like Britney Spears, or Britney Spears' sister, Jamie Lynn Spears,
She
because
got screwed because for my whole life I thought the dad and the sister, I didn't realize there was a difference.
they have the same name.
I didn't know, like, they were telling me all this stuff, this evil stuff that Jamie did to, I'm like, why is her sister running her life? And then I find out later that it's
well,
not.
her sister did like file to be conservator of
Yeah,
her. Like,
okay.
and it seemed like they were getting along, and now they're like enemies again.
Yeah.
Speaking of Britney Spears, we have this is old. This is a couple days old, but this is fantastic news for anybody watching this that listens to Britney Spears. And from what I've learned from TikTok and Instagram, her music is still used all the time in videos.
All the time.
It's kind of shocking. Her music is kind of like
It's pop canon.
generationally evergreen, meaning like anybody can. One of my favorite memes is like, why are all ghosts from like the 1700s? Why isn't it that you ever go into a haunted house and it's just a girl in her mid-20s and a ghost in her
Yeah.
mid-20s saying, it's Britney, bitch?
Well, Shane Cashman said that there's a place nearby that I think it's Shepherdstown, West
Yeah.
Virginia. That
Yeah.
like if you go, they'll take you on. You can sign up for ghost tours. And one of the tour guys told him like you're more likely to see ghosts if you dress in like period garb. And I asked him like, does that mean if you wanted to see a ghost from the 70s, you would like put on your bell bottoms?
Yeah,
Like,
let's
is it
go.
like there's only one period of time for ghosts, or like
the
what?
ghost? Maybe that's what it is.
The town was considered one of the most haunted in West Virginia because there was like a significant Civil
Yeah.
War battle. So I could see like that period being particularly populated by ghosts. But like, if I want to see like a 1950s ghost, do I like put on my like poodle skirt and like my saddle shoes?
Yes.
Like, does it work in all directions?
I'm gonna dress up like the guy, like Tubbs from Miami Vice, and we're gonna get 80s ghosts.
That's like, I need to know.
Yes.
And no one's been able to give me
That
an
kind of
answer.
makes sense now why BuzzFeed Unsolved. I don't know if they're still the two co-hosts that do it, Ryan Bergara and Shane. His name is Shane, surprisingly too, but it's not Cashman. It's Shane I forgot what his
Believe it
last
or
name-
not, there's more than one Shane in the
I know.
world. It's hard to believe.
I know, but it's like really funny because they used to do ghost investigations. So like Ryan's the one who believes in ghosts and aliens, and Shane doesn't. And they went somewhere in West Virginia also, or like in Texas, and dressed up in period pieces. So they dressed up as cowboys and started speaking like them. And then apparently they're what is that device that they
Oh, the EMF meter.
yeah.
Yes.
So they were talking to it, and
I didn't
then
know that.
because we just know.
I don't even watch ghost shows, but I watch shows I've watched crime procedurals that do an episode that inevitably involve a ghost show.
Mhm.
So
But yeah, so basically they used that, and one of the ghosts talked to them after they did the whole shebang.
did they find out what generation that ghost was from?
It's from the Western time, so like
Where's the
the
Western?
It's like a,
sorry, the Wild West.
West is still there. What are you talking
it's
about?
like so it's like the ghost of Clint Eastwood, even though he's still alive, or
Or just is Clint
or
Eastwood.
it's just is Clint. Yeah, it's just really pale Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood is there researching. And he's like,
Yes.
I'm gonna talk to these weird cowboys.
Yeah, and they're just ghosts.
Anyways.
But anyways, Britney Spears is finally working on new music for the first time in 6 years after breaking free from her conservatorship. Somebody should put in a sound effect of applause and clapping. there.
Yay.
Britney Spears is reportedly working on new music after taking a 6-year break. It's not like she took a break. She was like imprisoned, basically.
What?
Uh,
Like, that's so interesting to me. She had, I think, 2 long-running Las Vegas residencies.
Yeah, the whole
which means
time.
she only had to perform her old music. Have you ever seen the chart of like Mariah Carey's net worth?
Yeah.
And some crazy portion of it, like I want to say close to 70%. I'm not
Comes
sure.
from the
Comes from
residences.
All I Want for Christmas.
Yeah, oh
Is
yeah,
You.
no, we talked about that.
Literally one song.
She's just every year at Christmas, she's like, time to get my bonus
Right,
check.
like I'm excited for Britney that she's working on new music. That's cool, but also like I don't even know if she needs to.
She should do you know what she should do? She should just make covers of her sister's music out of spite.
Oh my gosh,
That'd be funny.
She should just make Jamie Lit.
Do you think her music will have a really different sound?
She should start a band, Britney and the Conservators.
Oh my gosh,
She should do that.
maybe.
She should do that.
But like, do you think it'll change sound now that she's not like she's an older lady? No, she's not like old, but like she's not like
No,
a
'cause
teen
I-
pop girl.
Well,
I
look at
feel like she-
Madonna. Like she still makes music. Same
Yeah.
thing with Cher. Like it's somewhat different because they're trying to match to the times.
Madonna just gets more and more sad
Annoying.
every time.
Yeah.
Like every time every 5 years, some new pop star has to like basically hold her up by the elbow so that they can try to make some song that inevitably you're just like, it's literally hello there, fellow kids.
Yeah.
Every time you see it, and you're just
I
like,
don't know what that song is.
no, it's the
like that
meme.
reference.
Oh, okay.
The meme of
Like,
the guy.
hello, fellow young people.
Yeah, with
Like
with-
someone pretending to. He like has a backwards
Yeah.
face, like having a skateboard.
hello, fellow kids. That's or how do you do? Yeah, it's,
I thought you were like listing a song, so I was like, I have no clue what you're talking
No.
about.
No, I think you're. I mean, like, I'm just curious to see, like, when Adele comes out with new albums. Like, I remember the thing about after her divorce, people were like, "That's sad, but imagine the music."
Yes.
Like, because her sound tends to give to this really deep emotional ballad.
That's what I say about Kanye. I'm like, sure, he's going through hell, but Donda 2 is going to be incredible.
Right. Whereas,
Like-
like, some of her music, I don't want to say it was like hypersexual, but it was definitely like that was an element of it, and like things like that. And like, is she gonna want to do something else now that she's totally on her own?
I think she still wants to do that because of the way she dresses, the way she
That's
talks.
true.
I don't think she's grown out of that yet. I think, if anything, now it's going to be like, look at me, wild and free.
Yeah.
get to-
Well, I wonder if it'll get more intense.
We'll see. That's
I don't know. Well, they do say depression music is like the best music because it makes you happier. Like they did a psychology study that if you listen to sad or depressing music, it makes you happier mentally.
Weird.
Yeah.
I've always
So-
heard the opposite, but
somehow that makes sense.
but
to
I
me.
don't see
Yeah.
her putting out like a depressing.
No.
I don't think it's going to be depressing. I think it's going to be along the lines where she's resenting her whole family. So it's going to be angry. I want to hear Britney Spears and Avril Lavigne do a collaboration where it's just angry music. Because Avril Lavigne is like making a comeback. I just listened to her collaborations with Machine Gun Kelly and Black Bear.
I am curious to see if this album, like, how many people will volunteer to collaborate with her.
Oh, I'm sure a lot. I don't think she'll.
She's a music icon.
I
Why
don't
not?
think she will struggle to. I don't think she'll
I
struggle.
mean, if she
to
even
find-
wants it, right?
Mhm.
Like, it would be I guess, sort of weirdly ironic if, like, her first album back, instead of it, like, she's free now, so she just works with everybody
Yep.
instead
yep.
of it just being about her. I don't know.
She can work with whoever she wants now.
Mm-hmm.
That would be cool. So, it says, speaking of her family, the mom of two continued. God knows they weren't. So I just read up on myself. This is what I found: multi-platinum Grammy. Oh, this is that they're talking about the time she Googled herself.
Yeah.
Like Britney Spears finds Google and Googles herself. If
Britney,
you couldn't
no.
believe it. I imagine. What if she went and did like a reality show? Like, what if she's tried to do The Voice? There you go. Not as a host. Actually, go on and try to compete.
What's that one? The
The Masked Singer. Yeah, she should go do that.
I never really understood. I've only seen one episode of that show, sort of mid-season. I have never really understood how it works.
I've never.
So
under-
basically, you have to guess who it is.
But
That's
it's like
it.
out of it seems like often the judges will be like, "Oh yeah, I think it's that person too." Like, do they get clues? Like, if I just had to listen to someone
No,
sing with a
they,
mask
they just
on,
have to listen to the sound of them, right? And then
just out of
You listen-
everyone in the whole world.
You listen to the sound of, so I watched like a clip of it. It's so dumb. I hate the concept of it because like I thought,
I think it's kind of a cool concept.
well, it would be cooler if you didn't have celebrity like judges or like guessers. Like I think it would be cooler, like a cooler concept if you got plebs like us guessing who they are.
I don't
Because
think I could do that because, like, at least if you're a celebrity, you like if everyone in our office had to do the Masked Singer, I might stand a chance at guessing who someone is. Great, because
Yeah.
I hear you guys talk regularly.
yeah, but
Whereas,
they
like with celebrities, like they probably interact with one. Like I just don't.
no, they
Maybe I
also
would just-
modified the voice too.
What? So there's no way.
What's the point?
They modify it, but like you can hear like certain things. They'll maybe sing a song that they sang before, and you'll hear a little bit, but then they modify
This
it
seems
too.
so weirdly complicated.
There's such a weird culture around those types of shows. Like there's like people who love like The Bachelor love The Bachelor, and it's like
Yep.
their favorite thing in the entire world to watch.
Do you know what what dating show I just decided I'm really into, which is horrible? 'cause
Love
it's
at
super
first
dress-
sight.
Oh no, Are You the One? Which
Oh.
I think is fascinating because it's like partial game show or partial dating show based on like professional matches, partial like if we can beat the system, we win money game.
Perfect.
And someone was describing to me and it's like slightly complicated, but at the same time, it's like the whole thing is like a bunch, I think it's like 20 people, even 10 guys, 10 girls go to wherever. The one I saw was in Hawaii. Everyone has a perfect match deemed by experts. And during the like, I don't know, 9 weeks or whatever, you have to like find who your perfect match is, right? Based on your conversations and you like couple up. And at the end of every week, they like do a ceremony where they like partner up, right?
It's like
and
the
it
similar
will
to the
tell them
Rose,
right,
yeah.
except then the game show side of it is like it will tell them how many correct matches they've gotten. Not who is correct, but how many. And if they don't get more correct matches than the week before, they lose $250,000.
Oh,
shoot. Out of the potential million
I'm cheating then.
they could win.
I'm
right?
cheating then because I need that money.
But even me explaining this, like, that sounds complicated, right?
Yep.
But it is fascinating to watch because in the beginning people are like, I'm here for love, and then by the end they're like,
I'm here
shut
for
up,
money.
Stacey, just go stand with Tom. We gotta win this $750,000.
I love it.
Anyway,
Whoever I would love to meet the mad genius who comes up with those shows.
this has nothing to do with Britney Spears.
No, we have gone off on one of our tangents. That
It's
is okay.
okay.
That is okay.
It's okay, but
I feel like you guys knew this could happen today.
It does happen.
It is interesting that how fascinated we are with love because like there's so many lonely people out there and they just want to see like other people get together but at the same time see them crumble.
Well,
like it's a weird human
That's
one of the
weird cynicism of it, right?
No, one of the things I loved about this game show, which it's hard to call it a dating show because it does feel like a game show, is that there is like everyone has a perfect match, right? But if I was on it and I decided that I was in love with like whoever over here, and it turns out because they do have like a way of like basically guessing, and the show will confirm or deny if the match is right. So like you'll have couples who are like, we're meant to be together, put us in the truth booth, and then the booth will be like, no, you guys aren't considered a perfect match, and they're like, we like each other anyways. And, like it's interesting to watch people's like attitudes towards love versus pragmatism because they could win a lot of money come out, and I think that sort of reflects.
Could we just
dating.
get arranged marriage like back on?
No, but like there's a whole like, you know, people say like when you hit 30 or whatever, like your attitude is so different because it's like, okay, do I need the things I needed when I was 20 when I was finding someone, or like am I deciding that there are better things? Again, we have this natural inclination towards moving towards more pragmatic thinking. I'm sorry, Brett. I know you.
The
want me to be
moral
on
of the
topic.
story is that Britney Spears and Amanda Bynes are both engaged.
That's true.
cool.
Good tie back.
Not to each other.
To different men. So
Yeah, it would be
And do
funny.
you think that is pragmatic, or do you think that because someone else managed their life, they got to operate fully on love?
that would be like a separate video all in itself.
That's the show I want Netflix to produce about them.
That would be interesting. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.